Thanks, Steve, and thanks to everyone for being a part of this today. Appreciate all the media members that played. Looks like everybody had a fun time out there. Appreciate our coaches and so many others that were out here. Certainly want to thank Cobblestone Park and the fantastic job they did putting this on. What a great course and great venue to have this. Can't tell you during my time here as an assistant coach how many rounds I played out here with Coach Spurrier. Way too many to count, but certainly since my time here, this place has done nothing but improve, and really appreciate them having us out. Also, congratulations to Sterling Sharp. I think he left, but Sterling and his team for winning, and then all of the other award winners closest to the pin, long drive guys. Obviously, we've got some pretty good golfers on our coaching staff as well. Really appreciate the former players that were here today. Obviously, we talked about Sterling Sharp. Great to see Harold Green out here, Connor Shaw, Corey Miller. Obviously, the coaches on our staff that are former players. We all know about those guys, but appreciate Corey and Connor and Harold and Sterling being here. Really appreciate Matt Neesmith taking time out of his busy PGA Tour schedule to be here as well and participate in this event. Know he's playing in Greensboro next week at that tournament, and certainly wish him well and continuing to have a great season. And really, really, really appreciate all of the other head coaches at Carolina that were out here today. Kaylin Anderson, our women's golf coach, Bill McDonald, our men's golf coach, Tony Annan, our men's soccer coach, Lamont Paris, men's basketball, being out here as well. I followed everybody around and got to keep up with that group. Lamont and Tony and Kaylin were in the same group, and just a little bit around him, I saw an unbelievable drive by Lamont. I saw him sink an eagle putt right out here on 18. I saw him hit a great approach shot on 16. He is obviously having one hell of a week, and we all wish that he could have the weeks that he's having in recruiting and on the golf course as well. And it was great to have Peter Burns from SEC Network out here as well. So I apologize if I missed anybody, but great to see so many, and it really means a lot to me personally that all of you took time to be a part of this event, and something that we want to continue doing going forward. Not much news to report since I saw most of you guys and ladies in Atlanta last week for SEC Media Days. Appreciate everybody that was there for that, and hope the rest of y'all's week went well after we left on Tuesday. We had a great time over there as myself and our three representatives. Just a quick little injury update. I know some of you have asked me. Rick Sandage won't be able to play this season. He's going to take a medical hardship, which means essentially his playing career here at Carolina is done. Hate that for Rick. He obviously had a tough injury last fall that he just hasn't been able to get back to where he feels like he needs to be to play at the level he wants to play at. So we've had some great conversations. We've seen a lot of different Clint and the people in our training room have done a great job with Rick. He's seen, different specialists and had a surgery after spring practice to try and get this fixed one more time, but just hasn't responded like we would hope. So he's going to won't be playing this season. He's in a good place mentally, good place physically, still heavily involved with our team. We'll be heavily involved with our team going forward and around the program. Like I told him, he's a Gamecock, and whether he's performing out there on the field or not, he's very much a part of our team, and that will not change. Have been a good week in the weight room. It's been a good summer in the weight room with Coach Day and our strength and conditioning staff and our players. Really like where we are there. Our players will finish up this morning. They worked out. We'll have a little team workout tonight. This evening we'll lift tomorrow, and then our players will have a few days off next week to get refreshed mentally and physically before they officially report on Thursday, start practice on Friday. Love the way that our guys have prepared this summer and eager to get going with practice there at the end of next week. Huge recruiting weekend coming up for us. Got a young man that's arriving here momentarily on an official visit. We've got one of the top prospects in the state of South Carolina that'll be visiting here unofficially this afternoon that we're looking forward to visiting with. And then we've got some fantastic players from across the country, some of the best players in the entire nation that will be on our campus tomorrow throughout the day and evening, and then on Saturday also. So the month of July is a dead period for us as coaches, where there's not much getting done in recruiting on campus at least. But this week everything opened up, and we've had some. We're going to have some fantastic visitors here this weekend, which we're excited about and eager to continue to showcase our program and what we're about as people and our program on and off the field. So looking forward to that. And with that, any questions you guys have, I'll be glad to answer.
Please raise your hand. We'll get a microphone to you. David in the front row's got the first one.
Shane, I think we talked about this at media days as well, but being here a year later, are there things that you had to do in your first year that you don't have to worry so much about now? Some things that it's like, okay, I had to settle that. That was just a first-year problem.
Yeah, I think it's more for me, David, being able to look back and see things that we did last year that we now know we want to do differently, mistakes that we made, whether it be being able to look back at last year's preseason camp. I sat down with Luke and Chip this week and just talked about, okay, looking back at last year's preseason, these are the days that we had a couple little injuries that took place this day. Okay, well, why did that happen? Is it something that we did in the practices leading up to that day? Is it something that we did in practice that day? Do we need to tweak times? So being able to just look back and refer back to last year, you have a reference point now more so than anything. I don't think you're ever like comfortable, okay, where I don't have to worry about this, but there's no question there were so many unknowns last year. First time I ever went out there for preseason practice. Okay, how are we going to do pregame warm-ups before the Eastern Illinois game? Does everybody know where to go and all that stuff? And you still worry about that because we got a lot of new faces, but certainly 1 year down, there's more of a comfort level with myself, our coaching staff, the players, as far as what we expect and knowing each other.
Let's go in the back. Cam.
Hey, Shane, I know a lot has been made this offseason about how aggressive this team has been in the transfer portal, bringing in new players. I'm just curious, from what you've seen in the spring and in the summer, which position group you feel like is going to benefit the most from the added depth from the transfer portal this year?
Yeah, I think at every position we've certainly, helped ourselves in so many ways, and hard to pinpoint one. Some of the positions we didn't really have to attack in the portal because we brought everyone back. The offensive line, obviously we've increased the depth and the competition at every position for sure. But if you just look at the tight end position with us losing Nick Muse, but then able to bring in somebody like an Austin Stogner and a Nate Atkins to add to that group. It was a pretty good group last year already. Now it's gotten better with a couple of new additions, and then certainly at the defensive back position, we lost a critical player in Jalen Foster, and to be able to add a Devontae Reed to that mix and make an immediate impact. So, those are a couple just because of guys we lost that we needed immediate help at right now that we have. We signed 2 running backs in the portal, and see what happens there with Christian and Lavoisier, because they're coming into a group that had some pretty good players returning, and Marshawn and Juju and those guys. So, everywhere those guys will have opportunities, but certainly there's a couple positions like that stand out just because they're replacing seniors or juniors that left early for the NFL.
Colin?
And you say every time someone asks about what a successful season looks like, it's about maximizing talent. When you say that, kind of what does that look like to you when you're evaluating a roster in a game?
Are you like trying to find the back doorway for me to give you like what my prediction is on like wins and losses? And no, no, not at all. To me, it's hard to say. I mean, there's so many things that go into a season, and staying healthy and just the way the ball bounces and things like that. There's no question about it, and I mean it. I mean, to me, a successful season is getting the very most out of this football team that we can, and I feel like if we do that with this year's team, we have an opportunity to have a heck of a season. But there's so many things that have to happen. I mentioned staying healthy, but the closeness of the team and how connected we become, and everybody going in the same direction and whatnot. I mean, it's such a thin line between winning and losing, and there's so many things that have to happen. But I do feel confident in saying that if we maximize our potential of this team, we got a chance to have a really special year, in my opinion.
Mike?
Shane, I don't know if you're aware but this is going to be the first time in 3 seasons that there's going to be a returning offensive coordinator. While you do have some new guys like Spencer Rattler, Austin Stogger obviously wasn't here in the spring, Can you notice a difference, though, with this offense in terms of the comfortability and just the speed in which they're playing and understanding the offense?
Yeah, I didn't realize that, to be honest with you. But, no, I think so. It's just a few things on that, Mike. Obviously, anytime you're in a system for year two, so us offensively, with Sat, with Clayton on the defense, Pete on special teams, there's a comfort level. I know me as a coach, when I've been a part of a program, I had so much of a better understanding and comfort level with what I was coaching and teaching in year two than I did year one, whether that was at Georgia with Jim Chaney, who was our offensive coordinator from year one to year two, or Lincoln Riley at Oklahoma. I knew a lot more about the offense and was more comfortable, but not just with my position, but what all 10 positions were doing around me. So there's absolutely more of a comfort level and confidence level because of that, without a doubt. And you see it. And the other thing too on that is the NCAA allows teams to do more in the summertime now than what you've been able to do in the past. So being able to get on the field with our guys periodically throughout the summer and meet with them during the summer and go on the field with them. This year we could actually have a ball out there in the summertime within the time limit rules. So to be able to really just install the offense before spring practice, and then be able to install it during spring practice, and then review that throughout the summer, and then you'll get it again during preseason camp. There's no question that our guys can go out there and operate much more efficiently than what we did last year, for sure. That's all three phases, and then also us continuing to fit this offense to our personnel and continuing to try and streamline things to make it conducive for everybody.
Eric?
Yeah, Shane, can you just kind of address the excitement level, both inside the building and outside the building, and the enthusiasm that kind of seemed to have come back to this program, and how important it was to get off to the good start that you got off to, and kind of just get everybody really thrilled again about this program?
Yeah, no question. I think there was a lot of excitement last year because it was new and it was year one, fresh start and all that. But then we were able to go out there and have this finish on a strong note and have some success on the field, which now gives tangible evidence to what we're doing, and then being able to add some pieces to the program and in personnel that's only increased that excitement. So there's no question there's a lot of excitement. I talked about it last week in Atlanta. Our season ticket sale renewal rate is the highest it's been in right around 10 years. I did a ton of Gamecock clubs in the springtime that were sold out, and did those with Tony, our men's soccer coach, regularly. And in all those, people came up to us all the time and told us they've never been more excited about South Carolina football than what they are right now. And I appreciate them saying that. And there is a lot of excitement. I think people feel that we want to be here, that I want to be here, that our players want to be here. And now we got to go play and coach well this season and keep this momentum going.
Pete?
Shane, how is Luke's rehab progressing? And where does he stand? Excuse me. Coming in fall camp.
Yeah, he's great. His rehab's been awesome. Credit to him, especially with the way that he's attacked it. Credit to our training room with the way that they've rehabbed him and gotten him better. He was pretty much doing everything during spring practice, and then, knock on wood, has stayed healthy throughout the summer, and he's full go. He really is. We got a couple little minor things right now, talking about other guys, a couple minor things that a couple guys are dealing with, but nothing that's going to prevent anybody from being able to practice next week.
Dick?
In the season, can you talk about any groups that really are going to be strong this year, and any you may have concerns with, maybe due to depth or lack of experience?
Yeah, I think to me on that one, Dick, it's just being able to look back, okay, who's returning, and certainly we return our entire offensive line and every starter and backup, other than I guess Jazz Turntine would be the only one. But that's a group that's an older group. It's played a lot of football that I'm excited about them taking another step this year because they have played so much football together. And then if you just look at just depth and replacing people, certainly the depth at safety, for us is something we've got to figure out during preseason camp. We lost Jalen Foster. We bring back R.J. Roderick at that position, and then there's a lot of unknowns beyond that. And that battle during preseason camp, I think, will be very critical. Just trying to figure out who are our other safeties and who can we count on to play. So to me, I look at every position as the head coach, and I know our assistant coaches are no different. I mean, you look at every position, and I have concerns about different situations, depth, and how it's all going to shake out and things like that. But, those are a couple that I think you guys could, see that too, just with just looking at the roster and the depth chart.
Ben?
I know you didn't plan to play 4 quarterbacks last year, but when you look at the quarterback room right now and where it's at, I mean, how do you feel about that room and how you guys have been able to flip it and feel like it's in a good spot right now?
Yeah, I really do. Credit Sat and our offensive coaches with the way they've been able to recruit, to that room, to be able to bring in a guy like a Spencer Rattler, to add to a room already with Luke Doty and Colton and Jake Helfrich, but then to be able to go sign 2 fantastic quarterbacks out of the high school ranks and Braden Davis and Tanner Bailey, but then over the summer to be able to add another quarterback who we are excited about, and Jalen Daniels coming in here as well, that'll be here for preseason camp as well. So that room has completely changed. It's still very unproven and very young in a lot of ways, but it's definitely, Luke was the old guy in that room last year as far as experience at this level, and he was a freshman that had started 3 games basically. So to be able to have some guys that are a year older now and then be able to bring in Spencer, who's won a lot of football games and played a lot of football, certainly is a different dynamic than what it was last year at this time.
Hale?
For those player-run practices and things you guys can do a little bit more of in the summer, does that, I guess, decrease the learning curve for some of the new guys or freshmen transfers who are coming in trying to learn the system?
Yeah, there's no question. Being able to meet with them, within the rules. I know Jeff Whitehead, who does an awesome job with compliance, is back there, so can't say anything wrong here, but he knows we're doing it the right way. But to be able to meet with them within the rules as far as what you can do and be able to install offense, defense, and special team stuff during the summertime, and then to be able to go out on the field with them, a couple times throughout the week and be able to install stuff, there's no question. I mean, in the old days, if you're a freshman coming in, like in the old days, you'd show up in August and go right to practice, and that was it. And then it got to be, okay, you could come in there in the summertime, but the only thing you were learning was basically what you learned from your teammates out there on the field, what they taught you. But now you can actually work with your coaches during the summertime. It's huge, because if you're a freshman that if you're Stone Blanton that just got here in June and didn't go through spring practice, you're basically getting an entire summer of learning the defense before you go out there to start preseason camp. So absolutely.
Individuals who've really picked things up really quickly and caught y'all's eye to this point?
Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, I think we've been impressed with a lot of them. It's easy right now when you're out there, you're not in helmets, and it's a walkthrough at 5:30 on a night in July to seem pretty comfortable and confident. It's different when you put the pads on and the bullets or the bodies start flying and all that stuff out there, and it's moving a lot faster. But we got I think all of our guys are in a good place right now mentally as far as understanding what we need to get done. We've got to continue to do a great job of coaching them and teaching as we go into preseason camp and then throughout the month of August.
Going back, Chandler?
Hey, Shane, when you look at the receiver room, last year there were a lot of question marks at that position. This year you guys were able to add some guys in the transfer portal. We got Josh Vann coming back and DeCarrion Joyner. How much confidence do you have in that room compared to last year?
Yeah, very similar, kind of to Ben's quarterback question. Just the depth in that room has increase, the depth in the competition. You return your leading receiver in Josh Vann. You return all the key pieces around him. To me, we've got some young guys in our program like Amarian Brown and Xavier Leggett, not really young, but guys that were here last year that have really improved since last year. We've added to it with some guys from the portal. We've brought in some freshmen we're excited about. So there's no question that room has more depth, looks different, and is more competitive than what it was last year. And I'm eager to get into the month of August and see how, that depth chart, shakes itself out. And because you can't play every single one of them and figuring out who are the guys that we're going to be able to count on as we go into the season.
DC?
Shane, after spring, Mitch Jeter and Alex Herrera were competing for that starting place kicker spot. Is there one ahead? Is that going to be decided through camp?
That'll be decided during camp. Yeah, it's a good battle going on. Both those guys have had awesome summers, and that'll certainly be decided as we go into August. We'll give those guys plenty of opportunities and put them in a lot of different situations to see who separates themselves there. But we're fortunate to have some talented guys in that specialty group.
Gino?
Shane, following up on David's question, what would you say are the specific strengths and weaknesses of the kicker candidates right now?
Oh, man. If there's a weakness or area of concern, it's just the lack of in-game experience kicking in my mind. I mean, Mitch and Alex have both played, but not to the extent, obviously, of Parker White, who's our all-time leading scorer. So they just, to me, the experience – they haven't been in a situation where they've got to make a kick in a pressure situation, which is what Parker has done so many times, or did so many times in his career. And then I think they both have great skill sets. Alex is very steady and consistent. Mitch is a guy that's a good athlete and strong leg, and they both have skill sets that we like. They're both talented kickers, and in that position, it's going to be the guy that's the most consistent that we just have a great feel for as far as being able to go out there and produce when called upon.
Ben?
Shane, you talk about the depth offensively as far as receiver, tight end, quarterback. I mean, when you're going from a year where you're trying to put guys in spots and figure out who can play to now feeling like you have a lot of weapons and trying to balance that, I guess, what does that look like in practice and how you guys are actually trying to do that and get guys reps, get touches, and feel like you're putting the right guys in the right spot?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's certainly something that starts, and obviously back in the winter through spring practice, this summer with the things that we're able to do with our guys. And then we can be more multiple. We've got some flexibility because we've got more pieces there, and we've got guys at the running back position that can do some things in the passing game. We got guys at the tight end position that can put their hand in the ground and block, but can also spread out wide a little bit, and certainly that makes it tough on opposing defenses as well. And to me, we got to go through the month of August and see how this thing shakes out for sure. And at the end of the day, we want to get our best players on the field and the guys that are going to produce. And certainly there's some really, really competitive battles going on across that offense right now. And each week's different too, Ben. I mean, what we feel like is the best way to win the game personnel-wise against Georgia State may be completely different against the next opponent, and then the opponent after that. So it's week to week. How are we gonna win this game? And let's get those guys on the field.
Dick?
You've added the red lights in the stadium. Are there other things, surprises that we can see this year to boost the home field advantage?
Yeah, I think I'm sure there will be. I'll be honest with you. I'm not really sure. I've seen them, and I'm excited like everybody, but I'm just trying to get a team to the first game to experience all that stuff in front of the fans. But it's absolutely an amazing venue in Williams-Brice Stadium. That's only going to get better this year, and then as we continue to go forward in the future, is only going to get better and better and better every single year. But it helps to have a good product on the field, and that's our job to continue to put something out there that our fans can get excited about too, which we're doing also.
Mike?
Shane, I'm sure you were asked this during the Welcome Home Tour, but as we get closer and a week away from fall camp, what is your envision of what Coach Freddie Kitchens will be able to bring to the team, and how do you expect that role to kind of expand as the season goes on?
Yeah, hopefully he's as efficient on the football field as it sounds like he was out there on the golf course today with all the awards he racked up. But now Freddie will be awesome. He's been a great addition to our staff. Just, to me, like I talked about when we hired him, he's a guy that has coached multiple positions on offense, quarterback, running back, tight end. He's been an offensive coordinator, so there's so many different spots that he's coached. That's a great offensive staff room that we have in there right now with Sad and the other offensive coaches. They work well together, and it's just another set of eyes. He's been a head coach, a successful head coach that I can bounce ideas off of as well. And we're really still kind of going through figuring out exactly what those responsibilities will be. But, I know he can add value to all areas of our program, not just the offense. And offense, defense, special teams. He's been around some Hall of Fame coaches, Bill Parcells, Nick Saban, on and on and on, and has been around some fantastic players as well. So he's been a good addition to our staff, just like all of our new staff members have. Jody Wright, Sterling Lucas, and then the rest of the support staff guys that we've brought in.
Pete?
Shane, how has Spencer kind of walked that line of coming in here, not saying, hey, I'm a leader, but showing that he can lead and kind of take the position when he has to?
Yeah, very much he did that. When he walked in here in the wintertime, everybody knew who Spencer Rattler was. He didn't have to go around and introduce himself to everybody. They realized who this is. But it wasn't coming in and saying, hey, look at me and follow me and I'm the guy. He just put his head down and went right to work. And watching him in some of those early weight room workouts, he didn't really say much. He just got up there in the front of the line and just worked and earned the respect of his teammates, in my opinion. And then as he's went through spring practice and then throughout the summer, to me, he's gotten more and more confident with that role. He's earned more and more of the respect of the players in that role and has been, more vocal in his own way here this summer as well. So he really just, it's cliche, but he just kind of let it happen. And it certainly has gone the way we want it to go here to this point.
Back to the room, Cam.
Hey, Shane, speaking of guys that, have left and trying to fill holes, it seems like on the defensive line, this is kind of the season that you really want guys like Jordan Birch and Alex Huntley to step up and kind of take ownership of that line. I just want to ask specifically about those two and what you've seen out of them in the offseason that makes you feel like they're ready for that role this year.
Yeah, you said Jordan and Boogie. I'm sorry. No, excited about them. You look at two guys that stepped up in the bowl game and made a lot of plays. Duke's Mayo Bowl was on TV last week or the week before and saw it on SEC Network and was looking at it. And you forget about the roles that they had in that game and the way they played. And they've had really, really, really good summers. Jordan knows that it's his time with JJ and Aaron now leaving, and Sterling's done a great job with Jordan Birch and Jordan Strong there at that position, bringing them along. And then Boogie's a guy that I think's had a really, really good summer, just talking to Coach Day in the weight room and the way that he's worked and the confidence that he has and the way that he's changed his body. I'm excited for those guys. That's a really strong position, that defensive tackle position with Coach Lindsey and those guys and that group, and proud of the way they've worked this summer and eager to see them here as we go into the season.
Any other questions for Coach? If not, you can save them for next Thursday, and Coach will be available again.
Yeah, exactly.
Media Day, 3 o'clock.
Yep. And some of you asked about the hat. That's supporting our men's soccer program here at South Carolina, Tony Annan and his team. So we got our season opener on Saturday night against Georgia State. Tony and his squad open up against our rivals from the upstate on that Friday night. So hope all of Gamecock Nation would be out there to support those guys here this season, along with Shelly and Jamie and our women's soccer program and all the other sports here at Carolina. So thank you guys and ladies for being out here today.